Hello everybody and welcome. Over the past few weeks we've been talking about how to be a leader. We've been looking at different ways in which leadership traits, leadership qualities, leadership skills are very important in propelling you towards how to become a more effective leader. Leadership has many elements, as you will have seen. Possibly some that are less obvious than others. And the one we're going to talk about today is definitely in that category of less obvious, less put out there when people talk about leadership, but equally and fundamentally just as important. My name is Igwe, and welcome to another one of our training videos. I have over 35 years experience creating, growing and leading teams across 5 different markets across Europe, Middle East and Africa in international teams. Leadership is something which I have lived and experienced throughout those years and sought always to bring my knowledge, my skill and my ability to help those who want to be leaders or want to become better leaders. So if you like this video, please share, please comment, and of course please subscribe if this is your first visit. Subscribe to the channel and look at some of the other videos that can help you. Now what we're going to talk about today is curiosity. Curiosity. And as I said at the beginning, it's one of those that is perhaps less focused on than many other areas. Now I have the privilege of being a co-author on a book that I co-wrote, which is this one here, Secrets of Working Across 5 Continents. And the key is in the subtitle, Thriving Through the Power of Cultural Diversity. Now why do I share this with you? On the one hand, and primarily because it's a book that was compiled in different sections, and the part that I focused on was visionary and authentic leadership. In putting this book together, which was a 3-year journey for the 6 of us, we identified the way we wanted to approach it, which made the book unique. We focused on insights from over 145 different people who had to have lived in at least 2 countries. Now, one of the fundamental things that they came out with, which I think is incredibly valuable, amongst the many different things, was the fact that through that cultural diversity and awareness of their travel, one of the most important elements for them as leaders, from CEOs to project managers to team leaders, was curiosity. For them, if they didn't have that fundamental gift of curiosity, they wouldn't have achieved as much as they achieved in their lives. So, what is curiosity, you may say to yourself? Well, and do we all have it? Well, first of all, yes, we do. Every single man, woman and child has a natural inborn ability to be curious. Let me take you back. When you were babies, toddlers, maybe teenagers, even into young adulthood, what was one of the fundamental aspects of growing up? Well, instantly you will know. It's discovering new things. You would touch things, you would open things, you would play with things that you weren't supposed to necessarily. And those that you were, maybe you built Lego or building blocks, or you drew or whatever. There was a natural curiosity in the brain that said, I want to know more about whatever it is that I'm supposed to do or not supposed to do. And through that discovery process, through that curiosity, it's true that some of us got into trouble. We did things that we weren't supposed to do. We went places we weren't supposed to go. But that was all through the fact that we wanted to discover new things. And through that discovery, we created our curious nature. Now, the sad thing about it, of course, is as we get older, we either lose or stop using that curiosity, partly because we go through pain, which could be physical or emotional, or partly because we lose interest or we don't think it's important anymore. But trust me, as a leader, it is one of the fundamental qualities that a leader needs to have. It is one of the fundamental traits of leadership. You see, we can talk about leadership traits of all the various types we've done before, but if you lose that fundamental desire to discover, to learn, you're losing a big part of your creativity and ingenuity. Now, of course, you might say to me, well, I'm not a curious being. I don't have curiosity as my nature. So let me give you 3 very quick and simple ways in which you can reclaim that, if you like. So let's start here. The first thing is to read. Read, read, read. And I don't mean read social media. I mean look at biographies, autobiographies. Maybe there's a new hobby that you have or you want to acquire. Maybe there's a new activity you want to pursue. What does it involve? Research it, look for it, understand more about it. That's what I mean by reading. The more you read, the more you discover. Now, maybe you're a fiction reader or you're a fact reader. It doesn't really matter, but it's the process of pursuing knowledge, information that you didn't have before. You engage those juices that make you go into a different universe where you weren't before. So, like I say, maybe start with something that's simpler for you. It could be a journal, it could be a magazine, but I would encourage you more to look at books, research things, discover new areas. Maybe you want to be a cook. Maybe you want to learn how to perform better in a particular art, play a musical instrument. Read more about it, research it, discover it. The other is ask questions. You see, by asking questions, even if you know the answer, so this is what I'd encourage you to do, even if you know the answer, the question that you ask, and if you ask it to somebody, it's even better, because depending on how they answer that question, you learn more about the subject matter itself. Ask, 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 lots of questions. Curiosity is driven by the questions that you ask. And then do a deep dive. You see, if you do a deep dive, what I mean by that is, let's say you want to learn to cook. You want to go much, much deeper into different scents, different herbs, different ingredients from different places. Don't just learn one particular type of cooking, one particular dish that you can serve. Yes, you can make that your signature dish, but you want to go much deeper into understanding maybe where food comes from, maybe where different nationalities, what their typical foods are. Those are all areas, like I say, I wanted to show you something that's easy to grasp, something we can all do to rekindle that childlike experience of curiosity. But clearly, if you want to know more, you may focus, I would suggest, if you want to learn how to be a leader, more on leadership. So in each of these, how do you look at leadership? Well, you read more about leadership. You hear some of my thoughts and comments. You hear about other people's thoughts and comments. You read these books. Maybe you buy my book. Maybe you buy other people's book. But you learn about leadership through reading, through study, through learning. Ask questions. You can ask questions of me, ask questions of other people, ask questions of your boss, ask questions of your subordinate if you're a leader already and you run a team or run a company. Ask questions. How am I doing? What am I doing? How can we do this? Within a leadership context, I'm bringing it back to that. And then a deep dive into what leadership traits are, what leadership qualities are needed, what leadership coaching you might need, what leadership desires you may have in order to grow to the next stage. Again, just coming back to daily life. One thing that my wife and I do whenever we go to travel to a new place, a new city we've not been to before, we automatically go on the big red bus. I'm sure many of you have been on the big red bus or something of that nature. Maybe you go on guided tours where you'll have an individual tour guide or you'll go with a group. It's very simple. The desire is we are curious to know about that city. Now we could spend, if we're there for a long weekend, the time taken to do our research, to understand, yes, that's one way of doing it. But if we take the big red bus tour, we then discover all these different places in the city. which then say to us, okay, we want to go here, we want to eat there, we want to go to that place, we want to explore. It opens up our minds even broader. And then we do our own, if you like, deep dive. We then say, okay, we've heard, we've understood, we've read, now we'll do a deep dive into a particular area. You can all do it. We can all do it as well. It's not rocket science, and yet it is very fundamental to how to be a leader, how to be an effective leader. Don't underestimate curiosity. Stay curious, ask questions, create those desires to know and learn more, and you'll discover how much better a leader you will become as a result of that. I hope this has resonated with you. If it has, please feel free to like, share, comment, and of course subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Thank you.